Hey guys, it's Alex E with TFP TV, and today we're taking a look at my H&K MR556 SBR that I tried to get as close in appearance to an HK416D as possible. All in all, I think it's a little project that's turned out pretty well, and in my opinion, the gun looks very neat. Basically, I started with a used HK MR556 that I got for a song, paid for a stamp, cut the barrel down to 10 inches, had selector markings engraved, had the barrel reprofiled, and a few other things I'm probably forgetting about. Anyways, the 416 is a carbine that really is making some waves around the world. Essentially, it's an M16 with a short stroke piston, but a very well-made version of one. They also just have a lot of features a lot of people might like the stock comes from the factory with the ability to store batteries, tools, whatever. However, I found that it's nice for keeping NFA paperwork there. This is the Form 1 for the tax stamp. There's also another one, a Form 4 for the suppressor I occasionally mount on there. You can also take the butt pad off and put a concave or convex one on there if you'd like. Right here is where you can store batteries in the grip. Not a unique feature to this gun, but it comes from the factory like that. Now the magazines are where I'd like to give it a little bit of praise. They're interesting. They are coated in a maritime resistant finish that allows for 96 hours worth of saltwater corrosion resistance. A little excessive for me as a civilian, but another interesting feature is there's a small round rubber buffer on the floor plate that holds the whole magazine together when firing grenades. The rear iron sight is adjustable for windage by pressing down this little detent and rotating this knob. And it does flip down for storage or running an optic or something like that. You'll adjust it for elevation by pulling this up and rotating it. Interesting iron sight, well thought out, and one cool thing is how it removes. You actually pop it off by pressing this backwards and pulling it right off there. And it actually does return to zero when you put it back on the Picatinny rail system, which is nice. The front sight does not have any adjustment, but it does fold flat in case the user is running an optic and they don't want it to interfere with that. So that is a nice feature as well. It attaches right to the gas block, and it does get very hot. Now to remove the handguard, first pop off your rail cover if you're running one like I am, and use a hex key and go ahead and unscrew this bolt. I have seen videos of guys in the military using the actual bolt lugs to undo this, but I've also seen people advise against that for obvious reasons. And here you can see the piston system. If you're familiar with the G36, it's actually very reminiscent of it. But let's send a few more rounds downrange suppressed. If you're comfortable shooting an AR-15 rifle, then really the MR556 and, by extension, the 416 should feel pretty familiar to you. Aside from being a bit more front-heavy than a DI rifle, this gun has no special or unusual handling characteristics. The trigger is a bit lighter than a standard semi-auto AR-15 trigger, so that's nice. And the stock and grip from the factory are both really comfortable. The E1 stock, while a bit large and bulky, offers a great cheek weld, and of course you could simply put one on any other AR-15. So at this point I thought it might be neat to showcase the piston system in action. This is full speed right here, so obviously you really can't see anything with the naked eye happening up front, as it does happen at an incredible amount of speed. But at first I'm going to slow it down real quick to 1/4 speed, and you can see it jump just a little bit, but then when we slow it down to 1/10 speed, you can see the piston in Opera jump quite a bit. Pretty neat. So at this point it's time to move on to the accuracy portion of the test. Let's go ahead and remove that rear iron sight. You don't really have to do this, it does fold down, but I like the optic to be pretty far back on most of my rifles, so it's easy just to pop it off with this iron sight. And I am using a 4X ACOG with some arms throw levers because I do like to switch it between guns for testing. So using my Polaris Ranger as a makeshift shooting bench until I can finish my 2 shooting benches I'm currently in the process with, I shoot a couple of 5-shot groups with standard M193 military ball ammunition, so 55 grain ammunition out of a 10-inch barrel at about 100 yards here. I did not have time to do a 300-yard test that day, but it is something I would like to revisit in the future. I know this rifle is capable of great accuracy. After all, MR does stand for match rifle, at least as is my understanding. And HK's excuse for not going with the chrome line bore was for enhanced accuracy. I'd rather have a chrome line bore, but that's just me. But let's go ahead and check out the targets and see how it performed. So on the first target, we printed a little over an inch, which was actually one of the best groups I've ever shot with this gun, I'm not going to lie. That's unusual to get a group that small with this rifle in my hands. But the second group is a little bit more reflective of what I typically get out of the gun, which is about 2 inches. It's a 1.6, 1.7 MOA gun out of all the groups I've shot with it, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I normally don't show little pet projects of mine, but I made an exception in this case. It was requested, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.